So hopefully at this point you're feeling pretty confident about how to lay out a template using an example, which is the one that I put in your Canvas course. So this is what your page should pretty much look like once you have it laid out. So again, we use that rectangle frame tool to create this photo box, right? It's got the X in it that lets the reader know that we intend to put a photo there. I put a stroke around this by going over to my right-hand toolbar, clicking on stroke, and making it 4-point. Okay, so the bigger the stroke is, the more it stands out. So feel free to play around with that a little bit. All right, the next thing that I did is I used the T tool to put text. Okay, so T is short for type. I'm always going to call it the T tool. So I used that to create a box for my headline and my subheadline. And then I created these text boxes. Notice how they're in column. So they're not out here like this. They start on column and they end on column, which is super important. You'll see that nothing breaks into this column, except if something is 2 columns wide, it still starts and ends on column. Have a nice caption here. You'll notice that I played around with these sizes a little bit. So my caption font is like a 25 point. My story is going to go here. So really what we need to talk about before I kind of set you out on your own for your first design assignment is you need to know how to place a photo. Now, a lot of people think you can just copy and paste. It does not work that way. You have to place the photo so that when you PDF it, it looks good, it looks the way it's supposed to, and it doesn't have a broken link. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use our black arrow, and we're going to click on the box with the X. That's our photo box, right? Notice when I click on it, the box becomes active. So it's got these little white squares all the way around it, which means it's been highlighted and selected, and whatever we do next is going in this box. All right, you're going to go up. So click on this box. You're going to go up to File and down to Place. The most common error is people go to File, Open. It has to be up to File and down to Place. All right, once we're here, I want you to find one of those photos that you made edits to in our last module. So there was one of a drummer and there was one of a swimmer. So I'm going to go ahead and find mine that's called Swim Edited. And I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click Open. All right, so my photo's been placed here. It's nice that he is like in the frame. He's not necessarily centered, but we can't just place the photo and move on, okay? We have some things that we need to do to make sure that the photo fits the space proportionately. So if you would, with this photo still selected, so if for some reason you clicked off of it, please go ahead and click on your black select tool, click on the photo. You're going to right click and you're going to go down to fitting. Once you're here, you can do a couple different things. You can go to fill frame proportionally, okay, which kind of like takes, it kind of zooms out a little bit and makes sure that everything's in proportion. You can also right click and go to fitting, fit content to frame, which makes him look a little squished. And so I think the best option for this one is probably the fitting, fill frame proportionally. But something that you can also do is you can double click the box. Notice how it gives me a hand. See this hand here? Once I have a hand, the box turns brown and I can pull out the edges. It's going to let me zoom in and kind of like crop the photo. I can also use my arrow keys to go up and down. But the most important thing is that it needs to look proportional. So if you just want to do the fill frame proportionally and be done with it, I support you. Once you're done making those changes, you're going to double click and then it goes back. Something cool to try while you are playing around, especially when you're putting in photos, you know, right here we have these column lines that are like in this guy's face, If you go to the bottom left-hand corner of your drawing toolbar, at the very bottom, as I'm hovering over it, it says normal. That means it's the mode that like shows all the lines and all the things that a designer needs to see. If you'd like to see it in a preview mode, you can click and hold on this option and go up to where it says preview. When you let go, that will show you what it looks like without any lines on it. So obviously this looks a little bit weird because we don't have full text here like we will on our feature article that we're about to do a design for. But you can still see, you know, what this dominant image looks like with the black stroke around it. Looks really nice. So we're just going to go back to normal. Let's go ahead and just talk about saving. So you're going to go File, Save As. You can put this on your desktop, and then you can call it, you know, practice templates. Now, I know I went through this stuff pretty quickly, but the good news is that you can pause this video, you can rewatch it. InDesign is really hard to learn. It is. Once you get the hang of it, things become so much easier. So please make sure that you feel comfortable with all the things that we've done so far, because our next assignment, I'm going to give you a little bit of help, but for the most part, you're going to be on your own with editing photos, doing a layout. I'll have some requirements for you, but before you log out today, please make sure that you've played around with InDesign a little bit, you know how to place a photo, and you feel good about your skill set when it comes to really the first week of design.